Kayla Harrison walked into the high school gym that Monday morning with her head held high, but inside, she carried the familiar weight of anxiety. For months, a group of bullies had made her life miserable. They whispered cruel words in the hallway, shoved her books from her hands, and laughed at her every stumble. Kayla wasn't weak, far from it, but she was quiet, disciplined, and focused on her training in judo. The bullies saw her silence as a target, not knowing the fire that burned beneath. It started with something small that day. Madison, the self-proclaimed queen of the school, smirked at Kayla as she walked past. "Careful, Harrison, don't trip on your own shadow," she sneered, her friends laughing loudly. Kayla ignored them like she always did, but their laughter echoed in her ears long after she sat down in class. Ignoring had always been her strategy, but lately their cruelty had grown bolder. They weren't just mocking her, they were daring her to break. The challenge came during gym class. The coach announced a new unit on self-defense, something Kayla knew better than almost anyone. She had been practicing judo since she was a little girl, pushing through bruises, failures, and victories to become strong. But to the bullies, this was their chance to humiliate her in front of the entire class. Madison raised her hand and said with a smirk, "Coach, why don't I go against Kayla? She looks like she could use a lesson." The gym erupted in snickers, and the coach, unaware of the tension, agreed. Kayla's stomach tightened. She didn't want to fight Madison. She wasn't here to show off. But she also couldn't keep running from the humiliation. As the class circled around, Madison strutted forward, confident that her taunts would soon turn into cheers from her friends. Kayla stepped onto the mat, calm and composed, her mind shifting into the discipline her sensei had drilled into her for years. "Ready?" the coach asked. Madison lunged sloppily, grabbing at Kayla's arms. The crowd laughed, expecting Kayla to falter. But in a single, fluid motion, Kayla sidestepped, hooked Madison's leg, and swept her clean off the mat. Madison landed with a thud, gasping in shock. The laughter stopped. The room was silent. Kayla stepped back, breathing steadily, her eyes steady and controlled. She had not hurt Madison, but she had sent a message. The bullies didn't stop there. Humiliation only fueled their anger. In the days that followed, they spread rumors about Kayla, mocking her online, twisting her strength into something ugly. "She thinks she's better than everyone," they wrote. At lunch, they cornered her table, taunting her. But Kayla refused to respond with words. She trained harder, spent more hours in the dojo, and focused on her upcoming judo tournament. Deep down, she knew she wasn't just fighting opponents on the mat. She was fighting for her dignity, her peace, and for every quiet kid who had ever been pushed down. The night of the tournament came. The bullies showed up in the stands. Ready to see her fail? Madison and her crew whispered loudly, laughing every time Kayla's name was called. But when Kayla stepped onto the mat under the bright lights, all their noise faded into the background. This was her world. This was her battlefield, won by one. Kayla faced her opponents, stronger, taller, faster girls, who came at her with everything they had. But Kayla was relentless. Every throw, every grip, every movement carried years of training, and pain turned into strength. She didn't fight with anger. She fought with precision, with heart. The final match was brutal, her opponent nearly overpowering her. The crowd held its breath. But in the last seconds, Kayla found her opening. With a surge of energy, she executed a perfect throw, pinning her opponent to the mat. The whistle blew. Victory. The arena erupted in cheers. But for Kayla, it wasn't about the trophy in her hand, it was about proving something greater. She looked up at the stands and saw the bullies staring, wide-eyed and silent. They couldn't twist this. They couldn't take this from her. Kayla had destroyed not just her opponents, but the shadow of their cruelty that had followed her for so long. The next day at school, things were different. The bullies still whispered, but their words no longer carried power. Others who had once stayed silent now approached Kayla with respect, some even inspired by her strength. She didn't become arrogant or seek revenge. Instead, she carried herself with the same quiet dignity she always had. But now, with a confidence that couldn't be shaken, Kayla's journey was never about beating the bullies at their own game. It was about standing strong, showing resilience. in proving that strength comes not from cruelty, but from discipline, courage, and the will to rise above. In the end, the bullies had targeted her, but Kayla Harrison destroyed them not with anger, not with hate, but with undeniable strength and unshakable spirit. And for everyone watching, her story became a reminder. True power isn't about tearing others down. It's about lifting yourself up. And no matter how many times life tries to push you down,